I'm Kristen with MHM Living and joined with the president of MHM Living, Botan Laszlo.
Hello.
And we're having some fun today envisioning what the future of the Rachofsky House could be. You are probably very familiar with the house from the outside. It's at 8605 Preston Road, and it is just over 3 acres, just over 9,000 square feet, 4 half baths, 2 full baths, and 2 bedrooms. And it is now for sale. Much to our surprise, we had the fortunate opportunity to be in the home before when we sponsored the 2x2, which is a large charitable event that the Rachofskys hold. And we're surprised to see when it went for sale because we had heard that the Dallas Museum of Art was going to be gifted it. And Dallas Morning News reported that they were offered, and politely declined because the upkeep was going to be a little too much. So here sits a very architecturally significant home by Richard Meyer that is for sale. And thought we would talk about what do you do with a home like that was built in 1996. So where do you even start, Botan?
Sure. Well, whether it's an architecturally significant or otherwise home, it always starts with its habitants, right? Like, what's the purpose? How are you going to use it? Who's the buyer? What's the vision with this space? And it's a really unique home, architecturally challenging, engineering-wise, from the build standpoint, has a lot of unique features. It's an icon. Right, it's really kind of a statement piece here in Dallas. Understanding the changes and how it's going to be used is the critical part here.
So if I'm the potential buyer, do I start that conversation with an architect, a designer, a builder?
Sure, great question.
All of them.
Yeah, so consider this. It's, again, going back to how the space is going to be used and how many people are going to be living there. There's a lot of different combinations here to consider. But really, architect, builder, designer, landscape architect, all those things should be involved early on because everybody needs to be working on the same vision. There's a lot of things needs to be validated real time, considered, researched, figured out. And again, I'm going back with the assumption that if you're just going to take this and completely change it into just a resident, it's going to be a very different approach than taking this and really updating it and modernizing it to live up its true, grandeur, like for what it was intended. This is a commissioned home, was specifically intentionally designed to be a museum.
Mm-hmm. So while it was intended to be a gallery and more of a public space below, and then there's private space on the 3rd level, it does have a kitchen down there. And whether it's in daily life or entertaining, the kitchen is really at the center of the home. So what would you do to update this kitchen and modernize it? And what considerations would you have? Yeah,
it's really interesting you brought up the kitchen because I remember standing there, the first impression I had, wow, this is really tight. While it's wide, it's a wide space, it's a large space. The ceilings just seem very, very short or very, very closing in. And I think the kitchen itself is fairly small as well, right? And in my mind, if the idea is to keep the home as a gallery, what can be done to connect the kitchen and the dining and the eating area, right? The breakfast area, the kitchen space, make it part of the gallery, make it more of an entertainment instead of just you're just kind of going off the main road in a way. And I think perhaps designing a scullery and where you have really just the entertainment kitchen, the pretty stuff, but then the workhorse kind of happens in the background, that potentially could work for a space like that. And again, I'm not sure what options they are and how complex would be to raising the ceiling. I think, generally speaking, what we are seeing in kitchens today, they are definitely, taller ceilings. But again, not knowing what the true intention with the space is, it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned it being a gallery space, and nature has its own artwork in terms of natural stone. And there's definitely some pieces that stand out as artwork. Would it be too disruptive to put some natural stone in there and disrupt the geometry and all of the white clean lines that are in there?
Mm-hmm. The home was specifically intentionally designed to be white as the prominent, right? It has a lot of sculptural feel to the home as is, a lot of layers, vertical, horizontal, blocks, offsets, cantilevers, things like that. So they bring a lot of interest there. I think bringing natural stone, again, it's just knowing how is it going to be used. It could warm it up. It could take away from that sterile, museum feel in a way. And that could be used if it's sporadically and in intentional spaces could certainly alter the feel of the home.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that comes to my mind is just the amount of windows in this home.
Yes.
And light was definitely very intentional. Different times of day.
It is for the art.
Light,
Correct.
shadows, for the art, and it almost enhances the sculptural aspect of the home itself. But it has a lot of west-facing windows, which are not the most friendly in Texas heat.
Sure.
And I'm sure technology has evolved in the past 30 years to either make it more energy efficient, or what are we looking at there in terms of making those windows work better for us today?
Sure. Again, I'm not familiar with what fenestration was used, what type of glazing they used on it. And I don't know if it's been updated since it was built 30 years ago. I know the technology, just with everything else, has evolved. I know there's different types of glazing options and films and multiple layers of glasses as well. And just maybe re-envisioning and re-evaluating the entire building envelope to kind of see because the windows are only a part of it, right? We're also talking about heat transfer to structure and other elements. There's a lot of steel involved in this building as well. So how is that the thermal break? What does that look like? Shading, intentional or mechanical to be considered. But yes, I think reconsidering the energy efficiency of the home, I think it's an important element to whomever undertakes this, especially if you're going to a large change and remodel.
So what is an aspect that we're not really talking about that you think should definitely be a consideration?
It's interesting, garages are a big deal, right? And what really caught my eye that, this home only has 2-car garage. And I understand the purpose for the home was, built. It fills that purpose. And again, I'm going back to the buyer. If the buyer has its own private, gallery, or maybe a semi-public or semi-private gallery, what does that look like? Is it just art on the walls? There's a lot of sculpture. Is there large pieces of art that could be showcased also, in a yard? Because I know we're talking about the home here, but we need to consider the surrounding as well, and which is beautifully set up for that as well. So I think the considerations there.
Well, this was fun envisioning the possible future of the Rachofsky House, and thank you for joining me today and talking about it.
Yes, my pleasure, and I hope whomever purchases it sees the beauty and the potential in the architecture and what was designed for and built for, and continue to be an icon in the years to come.